Erik Pendleton, Rewired Technologies. Thanks for joining.
What's up, Erik of Tint Wiz? Excited to be here. Been following the pod for a long time, and it's a privilege to be able to rep the Rewired crew today and converse with you accordingly. And I did want to say, I know you're LA based, so certainly thoughts and prayers to you and yours out there as you guys fight the good fight against the wildfires. But yeah, man, excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing this. And thanks for the kind words about LA or the prayers. I'm definitely, I haven't actually seen it in person, but it was very close by. But, they have everything blocked off. Luckily, it's, with a lot of devastation, luckily, it seems like it's almost over.
Yeah, I heard the winds were dropping and they were making some progress. So certainly fingers crossed for everybody out there and everybody impacted. And, it's a crazy times, man. And it's a privilege for us to have a chance to connect and be safe and talk shop. So we always got to, seize the day on that.
For sure. So for someone who might not know you, why don't you start with like a brief introduction of yourself and your company?
Yeah, sure. So Erik Pendleton, I've been in the advertising/technology world for quite a while, 10 plus years. It's the industry I've been focused on since coming out of school. I've done the boot camp of all the different types of ad tech. So I started initially with your more standard organic approaches that transitioned into working at one of the leading Meta or Facebook ad agencies in the automotive sector, which then I graduated to a stint with a New York-based marketing firm in affiliate marketing. So the organic and the paid and the affiliate side of things has given me a peek behind the veil, if you will, at all of the various different elements that go into the digital marketing. And what we found, or what I found in particular that expanded to my team that I work with, was a really strong passion for helping middle America conquer the digital side when they feel like they're ill-equipped to do so sometimes. And that passion and driving the results and building the relationships is what fuels us at Rewired. So when our previous auto agency that we worked at collectively, my team and I, got acquired, Drew and Dylan, my business partners, helped us forge the path here on starting Rewired with the sole purpose of tapping into that passion of helping people and bringing the cutting edge ways to do so and helping them, in particular dealers in our industry in film and tint, helping them sift through a lot of noise within the digital marketing space in general.
So much noise. So how exactly did you end up kind of in our industry or focusing on our industry? Is how much of your business is like window tint, paint protection, ceramic coatings, detailers, and so on?
Yeah. So we've got a pretty even split between the automotive verticals and the flat glass verticals. Our first account was our local 3M flat glass dealer to Sarasota, Florida. And that was a gentleman named Angelo Ragone. It's a funny story, but you start an agency and you're looking for a niche. You've got a passion for it. You've got the chops to, execute on the ads, but you're looking to find a good story to tell and find a good industry that maybe there's not as much, noise or not as many mouths to feed, so to speak. So with that being said, my neighbor across the street referred us to our local 3M dealer. I had no idea you could put film on a home or a business window. It never occurred to me. I live in Florida. You would think oh, you should know about solar film. Had no idea. On the way, 5-minute drive from my house to the shop, on the way driving there, listening to a YouTube video what window film is. Needless to say, I probably didn't do as good of prep as I could have, but it was a brand new thing for us. Sat down with Angelo. He heard me out. I was candid. Hey, I don't really know the nuances of what you do, but I know we can run good marketing. And if you give us a shot to digest the specifics, I'm confident in a couple months we can come back and have you performing well. And so those first couple months working with him was our opportunity to really cut our teeth, master the type of strategies that would make a lot of sense for this industry. And then, of course, digest the nuances of how to position certain types of film on the flat glass side, what makes the customers tick. So there was a lot of downloading from, Angelo, who had been in the industry a long time and slinging film for a long time, him really understanding, hey, we've got prowess here, but I got to help these Rewired guys kind of thread the needle. And maybe month 2, the results weren't that great yet, but we were working hard at it. And then, month 4 to 5, is when he started, to really be complimentary and say like the leads are really strong. We're having our strongest sales numbers. Whatever you guys are doing, keep it up. And he encouraged us to start having conversations with other dealers about what we were doing. And I think anything in life that I've seen from the entrepreneurial side, it kind of happens where like sometimes you just step into, this is going to be our vertical now. And it was really cool. And we embraced that and started just one at a time having those conversations and finding dealers on the dealer locators and reaching out to them and talking about what we were doing and showing them the case studies and things like that. And it just has picked up like wildfire the last 3 years. So we do owe it to having a chance to get into this industry and to Angelo for shepherding us through the initiation. And now, fast forwarding 3 years later, we're on a number of accounts. We have a lot more data and insights and tech that is powering us. That's all being tailored for the window film industry, for auto and flat glass.
Yeah, there's no question that it would be difficult for a marketing company that isn't specialized in the industry to be able to really execute because of the kind of nuances and specifics of the niche that is our industry. It's just not something that you can take a broad look at, a quick look at. So it makes sense that you're successful because you're focused on this industry, and that's a huge advantage. What services do you specifically provide? Like, what are your focuses?
Yeah, so we'll go after any of the auto verticals, tint, PPF, CC, detailing, and then any of the architectural or flat glass side of things. Commercial, residential, and then beyond that, like we're even into architectural finishes, helping dealers sling Dynoc and Belbian and Riatech. What our services look like in particular is everything from a paid media standpoint. The reason we feel really strong about it is this is an industry that relies on net new clientele coming in regular. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule when you're talking like commercial flat glass. There could be like, strategic relationships you build that are residual. But overwhelmingly, most of the time, it's we need a new client. We need a new client, not always somebody that's coming back with a new project. Now, nobody's getting their home retinted or refilmed every, 3 months or something like that, right? So with the demands of needing that net new clientele, we wanted to help what we felt like was a very antiquated industry get to the cutting edge on the marketing. And the predominant points of execution to this point, pre-rewired, was in relation to organic social posting, SEO and blogging, backlinking your site. And those are all great strategies. Those strategies work. How we liken that is like your foundational layer. And if you've got a really niche industry that you're working in, you could probably get all the way home to the end zone with just organic. Well, when you're in a competitive landscape like film is, whether it be auto or flat, and you're in competitive markets where people are trying to be the top result in Google or trying to win the click and win the job, that's where paying for the clicks helps you jump to the front of the line ahead of maybe your organic results and gives you visibility in Google with people coming to market that are looking for, your services, your film, or in Facebook, helping, especially on flat glass, helping introduce the idea of window film to your potential clientele and, informing them on it, building brand awareness, but branding that given dealer as the go-to for it. So then people aren't just saying, who's got 3M window film for me? They're like, oh no, NBI in Sarasota, that's the guy I'm going to trust with my project when it's time to do film. So in a nutshell, we want to help you jump to the front of the line. We want to help you dominate the market share within your MSA and grab as many quality clickers as possible. So that way, nobody can buy film in your market without you being top of mind or considered. And that's a huge element to it.
And what are the top platforms that you feel would make sense for paid for our industry?
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, and I'll pump you a little bit for getting Gary Vee out there to WFCT last year, because that was like, as a marketer, the coolest thing ever to see that guy at our conference. Amazing. I know you had a hand in that. Thank you, from me and everybody that attended, because it was super cool. One of the first things he said was, your marketing in this industry collectively sucks. Okay. Literally verbatim what he said. I'm like, okay, love it where he's starting off with, because I agree. And then I think he had everybody raise their hand that ran Google ads, and maybe an eighth of the room raised their hand. So your bread and butter from a lead capture standpoint, anytime somebody's searching for auto tint, PPF, CC, residential commercial films, you've got to have a robust Google search playbook. You've got to have the right keywords. You need your Google business listing with as many awesome looking 5-star reviews as possible, tied in as a location asset. So you're relevant for mobile searches in the map pack and, and Google Chrome and things like that. But that's going to be your bread and butter from capturing leads that are people coming to market on their own. They already know they need tint and they're pricing it out. They already know that their home is hot and they need solar window film. So when they know about the product already, Google is the primo way to be at the top of the results list and get that click and get that call. Conversely, how Facebook and Instagram tie in is as a really nice complement to what Google offers. So Google's your primary lead gen. Facebook and Instagram are going to help you build that awareness. Oh, you could put film on your business front for security if you're afraid of getting looting. You can put film on, your home windows for privacy from the neighbors. So we're building that awareness and we're delivering that to the ideal type of demographics in your market based off of financial qualifiers, high-end residential areas, and so on, and building that awareness and grabbing that traffic or acquiring that traffic. So the initial click in Facebook is not going to be equal to your initial click from a Google search campaign.
Of course.
Google has that higher level of intent. But what you're able to do when you acquire that traffic in Meta is build your sandbox or build your funnel. You're getting more people to engage with your brand digitally. And then Facebook is the king at retargeting or following up. So no matter who engages with your brand digitally on your site, your social pages, what have you, if they've clicked through and looked at you, now we've got that ability to stay after them and continue to follow up with them and show them relevant content based off of what they've engaged with your brand across the web. So in a nutshell, Google's going to bring your leads in that are people coming to market that know services that you offer right now. But Facebook's going to help you build your traffic and follow up with these Google clickers and all of the other Facebook clickers to stay relevant and stay after the ideal potential customers for you and your market.
So you mentioned Gary Vee.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any aspects of Gary Vee's teachings or fundamentals, like whether it be something current like day trading attention or something from the past that you either try to implement within your customers or also within your own company?
Yeah. So I would say he has a cool talk track about like grabbing the bull by the horns on Mondays. That's something that like I've held on to for a long time. That's some of his OG content. But one thing that he did say recently that really resonated with me, it could have even been at WFCT. It might have been in some other videos I've seen of him, but you as a business have a financial obligation or responsibility to market yourself where people are, where people live. And that really resonated with me because I've been having these conversations in the trenches for a long time, helping businesses with their ads. And, occurrence is, hey, well, what's my return going to be? How's that going to look? And of course, like the data and the numbers and the rate of return is why we do this. It's why we're in business and we're doing good because people are seeing good returns. More than that, just philosophically, you need to be promoting your business where all the eyeballs are, and that's in social. Facebook's walled garden, they want you to talk to your friends in there. They want you to do your taxes in there. They want you to do all your shopping in there. They want you to get all your news from there. That's where people are living. So when dealers talk to me about, well, what's my ROI going to be? Do you really think social is really that good? Isn't like Facebook kind of like taking a back seat to the gram and TikTok now? On the contrary, there's different demographics you can go after in the various different social platforms. But you as the business, if your goal is to grow, then your responsibility is to be present where the eyes are. And that's Google and the social platforms. So that's one element that, he was kind of like peering into my soul on, because I was like, oh, that's well said. Because that's like exactly what I've been telling peeps for a while.
I feel like for myself, years ago, he talked about how he leveraged Google Ads when they first came out for his father's company, Wine Library, to be able to bid 5 cents, 10 cents for keywords and basically only all these keywords. And I was familiar with Google Ads, but when that hit me, it really, we were running Window Tint LA at the time, and it really wiped away all thoughts of the next level is a radio ad, the next level is a billboard, the next level is TV. Like those things were in my head as the next level. And then when I heard that and he said, I should have gone harder because I went hard, but I could have gone harder. I could have not done the other things and used that to go there because that was actually the best use. And for me, that resonated. And that's why we went so hard at the time with Google ads, Yelp ads, and so on, which was a fundamental part of scaling the business, was being able to have a reliable, scalable way to market yourself. Like you're saying, when you can control getting in front of a customer with intent, or potentially even better, you can build intent by getting in front of people who didn't even know it. That is a fundamental part of being able to grow a business and be in control of that growth and being able to scale. If you're just taking what comes with whatever, I mean, that's obviously not. So now going back to Gary Vee, there's been other things that obviously along the way have resonated and I've implemented and so on. How, currently, like with his book, Day Trading Attention, he's always been all in on social, right? And like he got me on Musical.ly before it was TikTok, and I did nothing with it, basically, almost nothing with it. And point being, like, you have these times where you're like, I'll put a toe in the water, but I'm not going to go all in. And if you're doing that with social media, that's not going to work. If you're doing that with anything, that's not going to work. If you're doing that with ads, if you're trying to run one click every third day, that'll never work. It works when you go all in and you believe in it, not all in like you spend all your money, but you go all in, meaning you do it at a scale that is making sense. Now, going back to social media and Gary Vee, when he talks about, social media is not about posting like Happy Monday. It's not about posting just like a picture with like a quick caption every other day. It's about, on a platform, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 posts in a day, all with intent, all using the best practices, not all performing well, but giving a try. And what I think is very prevalent amongst society, I mean, that's why Gary's talking about it, right? So that's obvious, but let's bring it back into our industry, because I think our industry is where to us it really matters, is if for companies that are ignoring social media or putting that half effort in, if they're not going all in, they're going to end up needing to go all next year or the year after or the year after. But it's like going to the gym. The sooner you start going, the better it's going to get for you. But you're going to need to go. And if you try to go when it's too late, it may be too late. Sure. So like, that's just something that now with Gary has really stood out, and we're trying to adopt in our own business and really try to leverage social media. And it's not about leveraging social media for selling, right? Exactly. It's leveraging social media for building brand awareness, for building the community, for having a voice, for amplifying others in the community, and ultimately being top of mind. And, whatever comes from there is going to work itself out. But you need that platform. You need that pipeline to exist.
Yeah, exactly. No, I've very well articulated. The analogy I like to reference for the paid ad side of social is you're going on a road trip. You need a full tank of gas to get there. Don't expect to get there if you put a quarter tank of gas in this, right? Another cool analogy is like, hey, you're buying a stock low. You've got to hold it so it matures. That's like what your ad accounts are, is a stock. The second you start spending in Facebook or Google and teaching the algorithms what you're looking for as far as a customer, conversion rates, branding wise, it optimizes, it gets more intelligent. So it's like, that's your sales engine powering, the backbone behind the scenes of your social strategies. And then complementing it with the organic strategies, like you're alluding to a degree. It's not only about, hey man, I run ads, like hit us up, like let me run your ads, hit me up, right? Or for like Tint Wiz, it's not just about like, hey, we have a dope CRM, like hit us up. It's about the diversity in your messaging, because people buy why you do it, not what you do. So the more diverse your messaging is, from branding, you of course want some sales related messaging, of course, but it's not only just let me beat people over the head with, here's why to buy from my tint shop. We're the number one, we're the longest tenured. That messaging can get stale if that's the only thing you're referencing. So I definitely am picking up what you're throwing down, and where we come in is not from the organic side. We're not doing a ton of content creation and social media posting for dealers. Where we're coming in is from the paid ad side to give you that sales engine that's always running in the background, that has that diverse messaging built in. So that way, any of the organic is kind of like the cherry on top of helping you evolve your brand and have that diversity within your messaging. And I think the dealers that we have the best success with, there's a number that are like, hey, I have no content. I've never shot a video or taken a photo of a job. I'm like, well, you need to start. Okay. But we have content we've created that we can help dealers with, and there's OEM content as well. But the dealers we have the most success with, shout out like a Green Valley, amazing content, great organic following, and they were doing amazing on their own without us. But we came in for just that back end infrastructure to get that sales engine running with the ads and leverage Facebook's Advantage Plus model, which is like their kind of like their dynamic AI model. And that just helped power them even further. So yeah, man, I'm picking up exactly what you're throwing down. I think helping people understand that it's not just about here's what I do, buy it. There's a learning curve there, but once that switch flips, then you start to see the creative juices start to flow with giving people that are grabbing the bull by the horns and trying to promote their business in the right way. And that's one of the most exciting parts for us.
I feel like there's not a single business out there that if they want to grow, every single business that wants to grow should be using paid ads, period, because it should be part of how you grow. But if you're not using paid ads, I would say it's most likely because either you don't want to grow, which is totally fine. There's totally fine. It's not like a bad thing. It's not like not going to the gym. Not growing your business and just like staying steady is, if that means you're at a perfect spot that you're happy, that's perfect. But if you want to grow your business and you're not running paid ads, to me, the truth of it, the core comes down to most likely you don't know how to run paid ads or you don't know who to hire to run paid ads. But like if you knew who to hire, you knew how to set them up, you would run them, because the whole point of paid ads isn't like spending money and hoping. It's dialing it in to a point of conversion and then being able to use that paid ad system to scale it. Now, nobody would argue the value and how the power of a platform like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. None of them, like who could argue the value of a platform like that and getting distribution on a platform like that? So then with that said, why wouldn't you use the core part of what that platform does best, right, for themselves as a product is paid advertising? Like to stay off of that wouldn't make sense unless you don't know how to do it or you don't know who to hire.
Sure. Yeah. And to take it one step further, the value proposition for our industry, well, especially on the flat glass side, it's a little more saturated with the automotive vertical like product set. But in flat glass, I can confidently tell you, because I've looked at, we call it ad hacking, but you can peep the page transparency on any Facebook business page and see if they're running Facebook or Instagram ads. And let me tell you something, Eric, thousands. I've looked at thousands of them in our industry. I can count on two hands how many of them had a real, well-architected, with good content Facebook strategy. So that value prop isn't just like what you're alluding to it in relation to, hey, if you dial it in and it's repeatable and scalable, why wouldn't you do it? But it's also in the lack of competition for the placements or the ad inventory for people talking about window film. The anecdote I'll leverage often because my background is in automotive. And when I say that, I mean like helping auto dealers sell cars is what we used to do. The second you went to LA Ford and looked at the new Raptor F-150, not only does that dealer know that you're looking at that 50 now, every other Ford dealer in the market knows, every independent auto dealer in the market knows, all of the third parties like your car gurus or your True Car knows, and Ford at the tier 1 level know. So the second in automotive you raise your hand and say, I'm in market for this, you're bombarded with ads, and the competition for that ad inventory is significant. Somebody raises their hand in Google in our industry and says, I need this for my home or business. Guess what? Nobody having a conversation in Facebook about that. So if that person didn't immediately when they searched in Google, go and find a provider, then guess what? That person is somebody that's shown interest, that's floating out there in the ether that we at Rewired can help you get in connection. And that's as simple as they know what you're doing on this thing, right? There's T's and C's. So whenever you have a Facebook owned property, they position it behind the guise of like the interest and behavioral based targeting. But they know if you're talking to the missus about a new coffee table and then it's in your feed the next day, or they know if you Google sectional couch, guess what? You're getting ads for sectional couches in Facebook the next time you go in, promise you. So it's tapping into that. But then when nobody else is doing that, now your spend, your ad dollar stretches considerably further. And when I said we fell into auto, or window film rather, from auto, and we looked at the landscape, and we had this really happy initial client. We were like, dude, this is prime for the taking. Nobody's having these conversations about social. We've got a really robust back end with my guy Dylan, who's one of the best meta architects in the nation. He's blueprint certified and all that. He used to teach like Facebook's auto team in our previous life on like things we were looking for. That's the guys on the product side of what we do. Drew and Dylan are really the powerhouse behind helping the dealers. I'm more so just the mouth, but I'm out here spreading the good word on points just like that, where it's a new game in town and you could be the only one doing it.
So a lot of people have bad taste in their mouth from marketing companies that they've tried.
Oh yeah.
Now, I think I first met you. You were working with, if I remember, it was Bill Valloway. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then I knew you were working with Manny from EPD. And then I know you're working with Green Valley. Now, I don't see Bill's ads on my feed, which is a good thing, because if I saw them, that would be a bad thing because he's not in my area. I do see Manny's ads every single day. I see Manny every single day throughout the day. I see Manny. EPD is absolutely top of mind because I'm in Facebook throughout the day and I see Manny every single day. And then when I traveled to Vegas for SEMA, the second I'm in Vegas, I'm seeing Green Valley the whole time. The whole time I'm seeing Green Valley. So
yeah,
that's as far as like my testament to your work. Beyond that, if somebody is simply going, Erik talks a great talk, but I don't know most of what he's saying, and nothing, what makes him different than the other 3 people that I used before that also sounded good when they told me about their services? Is there something, because I'm sure you kind of deal with that sort of mindset from potential customers. What would you say to that?
Yeah. So being always in sales, I was always managing my own little business within the business. And when we wanted to set off and do our own venture, which ended up being Rewired, I think a big misconception that some entrepreneurial type people might have is like, oh, well, there's somebody already doing that. There's somebody that's already got a chatbot with OpenAI that's doing great or whatever. And I had to have this shift in mindset of just because somebody else is doing something doesn't mean that they're doing it the best way or they're doing it with the best intent behind it. So while being our own boss and running, a tech company had an allure to us for sure, the passion and why we did it was in relation to taking those experiences from individuals that have had really tough relationships or really tough experiences with other marketing agencies and really branding ourselves and positioning ourselves as very different. And not only does that extend to your ad tech, okay, you can have the most awesome campaigns and, sick ROI or whatever, but there's an element of the business owners or the dealers need to have a level of understanding. They need to have a level of buy-in, but then there's a certain level of experience that I think can make up for a lot of that. If you've got great ads, but you can't get in touch with anybody, you're not going to vibe it. If you have crummy ads, but these guys are like needy and always on top of it, you're not going to vibe it. So I think there's a balance to strike there. My expertise, and I use my dad as an example. My dad's like swimming pool builder. He like can text now, but he's long in the tooth. But I use my dad as an example. Like anytime my dad tells people what I do, he's like, oh, he does stuff on the internet. Like he has no idea. But I imagine, and not all the time, I deal with some really savvy guys like Bill Valley at AP, top-notch guy, really smart with ad tech. But often I'm leaning into like, I need to educate them and help them understand how it works, show them what stats we're looking at that are going to be KPIs or that are going to lead us by the hand to show us the results and the return. So to boil it down, I would say the experience and the attentiveness to our clients' needs is unmatched. We want to get, tickets or support items. We want to get them done same day. We take super detailed notes of all of our conversations with all of our dealers and roadmap certain objectives. Often in dealing with marketing agencies, you'll hear, oh, well, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And they'll tell you whatever just to get you off the phone so they don't have to like maybe do something right then. On the contrary, we're always looking for ways that we can support them, digest business objectives, and make them actionable. So what I like to look at it as is the marketing for window film is the mere vessel at which we've entered in. But what we really are is a business consulting company, right? Your ads are your vessel. That's how we're going to help you equip. But it doesn't just stop at the ads. We're going to help you optimize your site. We're going to help you optimize your inside sales processes. I'm going to be there to help you strategize content. There's a lot more that goes into it than just like, hey, we, flip a switch with the ads and the leads come in. Woohoo. And I think that mindset is very different from a lot of agencies. Many are, I'm going to put you on an annual contract. You can't get out of it. It's going to be this much a month. We'll talk to you in 90 days. Like, that I don't feel like sets your relationships up for ideal success. And so we have a ton of pride in forging the relationships. Dude, it's business. I would be, being disingenuous if I sat here and said every single relationship in window film has like blossomed into this amazing thing. Nah, man, like there's sometimes it doesn't work out, or sometimes people go in different directions. But what I would say is overwhelmingly the dealers that we work with and that stick with us really appreciate the level of attention and care and detail that goes into making sure they're getting the most out of working with us. And that extends from like being really easy to work with on month-to-month agreements and just making it about the work and about the ROI instead of like making it about some, made up piece of paper. It extends to identifying gaps in their businesses. Hey, we need more 5-star reviews. Like, do you need me to help you set up a review funnel for that so they can automate every time somebody like in Tint Wiz, once they're, marked as sold, can we help you set up in Tint Wiz's automation reputation management to get more 5-star reviews? There's a lot that branches into it. And being boutique and a small team, 4-person team, it makes us very flexible, like kind of like an amoeba. Every account is different. If we had, this is the one playbook we do and we just rinse and repeat for every single account, it wouldn't be tailored for them and their market. So what makes us different in a nutshell, we just really care a lot. And we know like not everybody's going to be our best friend and whatever, but we can confidently say that every single account that comes through the door, we do our absolute best on all of the top objectives that we feel like are what's going to make them successful. And I don't think a lot of other agencies could sit there, a CEO could say, I know my team on every single account gives like the same level of intensity and effort to try to, further them along, because I think there's a lot of hit it and quit it out there. So if it's a true collaborative partnership, then that's where we come in. If you just want somebody to run some Google ads for you and pay them a couple $100 and, they send you a report every 3 months and that's what you're looking for, then that's not really the role that we fulfill.
And you work in an office, like that's where you're at now with your team physically, yeah? In Florida?
So Dylan and I are in HQ in Sarasota. We did have Drew here too, but he actually just moved to Greenville, South Carolina. And then we have Vees out in New Jersey, who's kind of like my pseudo, understudy or apprentice, who's coming up in the sales. And he's a young guy with a lot of potential that we're kind of grooming, hopefully one day to have a hand in like the management of our company as we are able to scale. So we're looking down the line to find ways that we can grow and help as many dealers as possible without losing that level of quality, because I wouldn't stand for it. We want everybody to have an awesome experience and we want them to feel really well taken care of. That's first and foremost.
So you're pretty intimately involved in the window film community, both obviously on the ad and marketing side, but you're also in the Facebook groups. You attend the events in person and so on, the industry events. Outside of anything that you offer as a service, outside of ads and digital marketing and so on, is there anything in the industry that stands out to you as an opportunity that existing companies may be able to do better, whether it be a film distributor or tools, not mentioning them specifically, or something that no one's fulfilling in our industry that you feel like, wow, the same way you felt that, wow, like this industry is kind of behind. Nobody's really taking full advantage of digital marketing as you saw fit. Is there something else that you feel also fits into that category?
Well, it's kind of like, you're like, not necessarily something that relates to us. It relatively relates to us, but I think one big blind spot was in relation to inside sales, which I think is like an awesome thing to talk to you about, given, you're running Tint Wiz. I think having a Tint Wiz or a CRM is an absolute must. Tint Wiz, the OG, definitely recommend it. It's amazing. Plug. But beyond that, the follow-up practices, the attentiveness to addressing leads that come in. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and take every single call for every dealer and, book them estimates or whatever. But one thing I can tell you is that the dealers that we start working with, where we're like, hey, dude, it took you 2 days to get back to that lead. Guess what? That lead's gone now. like the ones that really evolve there are the ones that get the most out of it. So maybe I wouldn't say like this is like a massive opportunity like globally, but there are other agency type models where they will give you like an SDR or an inside salesperson that you train up to take your inquiries. So like for those individual like sole proprietor dealers out there, I think that's one element where, you know, it might make sense if you have a high volume of lead flow that you're doing the estimates and you're doing the installs and you're wearing all the hats. You know, that might be something that you could look into, like digital assistant or virtual assistant. Like there's things I think that we have at our disposal that could really help amplify and increase the capacity some dealers have. On the AI side, we have a very big interest in AI and seeing how we can further invest in it, further find relative or appropriate use cases for window film dealers. So that's something very much top of mind for us for the future. And that's why we're rewired technologies, not rewired marketing. The marketing is what we know, and that's what's fueling us to start here. But I think there's going to be a ton of opportunities within AI, both from like abacus and setting up AI agents. That could be like a use case for a given dealer currently, but just in how all of your tech stack communicates. And that's one thing Tint Wiz is amazing at with the Zap hookup that's native. Like you get your QuickBooks in there, get a Go High Level in there. Like you can connect all of your software so they can communicate appropriately. And for us with the ads, like we want it to be website to marketing to CRM to your accounting to your reputation management. Like that whole stack should be integrated and communicating. And I know you're on the forefront of that, so I'm not telling you anything that maybe is new to you, but just to reiterate for the dealers that might watch this, there are ways to connect all of your stuff to make your life easier and automate things. So yeah, we can help you with the ads, but if that's also a thing of, or an area of interest, I think that's where we can get better collectively as an industry.
I think every window film and paint protection dealer, and really every business in general, should always just be looking at what are the things as a business I have to do repetitively. Yeah. So you're going to get customer inquiries, you're going to get online inquiries, you're going to get phone call inquiries. You know that for sure. Unless you have no business. So if you have a business, you're going to do that for sure. And you're going to have to quote those customers. You're going to have to schedule those customers. You're going to have to go fulfill the services, invoice them, and potentially you want to ask for a review. And you want to do that now that you know you have to do all those steps along the way. You want to first acknowledge what those steps are, and then you want to try to build the smoothest system that is the most efficient for your company and the most pleasurable for your customer, and then start to implement people and technology to help that path move most freely down the line, hopefully without you involved in most of those steps as a business owner, right? Without technology, without a CRM, without a software to do that, it's a giant vulnerability as a business. It's a giant inefficiency, and everybody who doesn't have that system in place, I challenge you, if your head's not spinning, at least during the summer, your head's spinning because
it has to be.
It's
even just using ChatGPT, like even if you're not going to be like integrating a ton of stuff, like find use cases for ChatGPT, help it, like make it write you organic content, put your logistics in for the day, ask it a business question, like even just simply starting there and get the paid version. It's $20. It's worth it. $20 a month. And just like my wife, abstract artist, she did this piece behind us for the office. So she has her little art business on the side of like her day to day. Okay. And, months back, I got her on ChatGPT. I'm like, stop asking me all these questions. Ask ChatGPT. I'm trying to run my own business over here. Just kidding. She knows I'm having fun with it. But I got her on there. Now she named it. It's named Morris. And now Morris knows all her preferences and everything that she does. And she could ask Morris today, what do you think it is that I do? And it'd have like this awesome synopsis about how an amazing abstract artist she is and what her process looks like and whatever. Get your AI and name it. We named ours Chad GPT. We have a shared account on the paid version, but we have 4 different guys prompting it. So we made rules for Chad. Okay, if somebody addresses you like this, it's EP that's prompting you. Separate and save our chat history separately from if it's Dilly or Drew or V. So there's so many cool ways that are practical use cases that will make your life easier, even before you get into integrating your softwares. And I don't care if you're old school or new school or whatever, get in there, prompt it, figure out ways to use it that are practical for your business. That's no brainer, should be done.
Every single window film and paint protection company should be using ChatGPT on a daily basis. It should be on your phone. You should be pulling it up on your desktop when you're working, on your laptop, whatnot. And, you know, at the beginning of it, it's what you're talking about. There's little efficiencies. Like when you're sending out an email, it can clean up that email. It can help. And, you figure out the nuances. It's not as simple as just like paste and go, right? But you have to figure that out as like, by using it, how to get what you want out of it. But it's kind of a similar practice to how you manage a person. You don't get what you want out of them the first time. Right. You have to figure out how to communicate properly so that it gets you what you need. So you do that and you're going to be more efficient. You're going to be able to figure things out. Like Gary Vee, going back to Gary Vee, he mentions we're going to look back at Google search, like the yellow pages, and it clicks. It already looks like that, right? When you use ChatGPT on a daily basis, and you can ask a question and the answer can be there for you, it makes going to Google, getting a list of websites, clicking on them, finding on the page what you're looking for, it makes that look like the yellow pages. It actually does. And if you're not using it for your personal life, your business, not only for the efficiencies, but because of the future of what you're like staying behind, you're already behind, and it's an immediate $20 you need to spend. And every single day you should be using it. If you're not, you're behind. Like super behind.
Yeah, like 100%. And don't be afraid of AI taking your job, whoever sees this, because
if you don't use it, it'll take your job. But exactly. If you use it, it won't take your job.
Be an AI prompter. Learn how to prompt AI right. Look, brand new job that you could now fulfill at some tech company. Oh, I'm a specialty AI prompter. Oh, well, I was a copywriter and ChatGPT is doing that now, but now I can be this expert prompter on how to get the best copy out of ChatGPT. There's always new emerging ways to have an expertise in how these platforms are leveraged and these AIs are leveraged. And we talked about noise in the marketing. I mean, on the contrary, the noise in the marketing for window film, nowhere near as noisy as other industries. But let me tell you something, the noise that's coming down the pipeline with AI, there's going to be so many different solutions, so many different use cases, so many different practical implementations, so many different ways to connect things. Rewired, we want to be an expert on all of them. We want to know practically, like, hey, this makes sense for this use case or for this objective. So that's one thing that we're taking a big step in is, in our knowledge base is just going after that. But 1,000,000%, because in relation to using it, because not only is it going to help you write that email or whatever, it's going to learn about you and your business. It's a business consultant, your fingertip, ready to give you phenomenal intel whenever you want. And it's going to learn from your last prompts. It's going to steer you in the right direction on brainstorming items or how to prompt it better in the future. So yeah, 100, man. Get on it if you're not on it.
Yeah. So can you show us a tour of your office?
It's not that big. It's just one suite. I can show you.
It doesn't need to be big though. Like my office isn't big either. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah. And actually this piece is usually on the wall right there above him, but I moved it for the aesthetic of the show. But yeah, man, we got Dali on the wall. We've actually got back there. We've got a circus print. So Sarasota is super well known for the arts. And Ringling Brothers, OG started here. John Ringling built the Ringling Mansion on the water here in Sarasota. So we have a circus print that's super cool that I got from my sister who actually went to Ringling College of Art and Design. But the reason it's so important for us is in the old school days when the circus would come to town, they didn't have Google ads or Facebook ads. How would they let people know where they were coming? Well, the marketing teams would have their own sections of the train, and they were super creative, and they'd be putting together and making all of the amazing, really engaging content or circus posters. And then they'd get there a week ahead of time before the circus came to town and post them up all over town and build that buzz. And then from there, you'd have a crowd ready to rock and roll when the gates open. So that's one really cool thing that we have on the wall here. That just kind of is near and dear to us. But we've got Dali, we've got the French Music Festival in the back. So we've got some cool art. And then, of course, I support my wife with the one behind me. But we're super blessed to work in the location that we're in. It's actually called the Penthouse, but I would say it's not the penthouse as far as some of the other suites go, but it's perfect for us, man. And we've got the dusted frosted crystal rewired right on the window out here for everybody to see when they walk by. So we try to stay true to our industry.
Very cool. So you're pretty active on LinkedIn.
Sure.
And, I would imagine you're active on LinkedIn for the B2B aspect of it, right? You network with window tint companies and probably manufacturers, distributors, everything, the whole industry. But like that, you see that as, because I feel like you're probably more active on LinkedIn than maybe Facebook. Is that right or no?
Yeah. I would say in previous lives, I've never been much of a Facebook, Instagram, post a lot, talk about whatever I'm doing. It's just never been my vibe. I know it's ironic that I'm talking about marketing. Yeah, I'm like not that active on the social platforms in that way. I've always leaned into LinkedIn because of the B2B nature of it. And it's been a super powerful engine for me for networking and connecting. And I like that it's more, apropos for business. We are doing more organically through our business pages in Facebook and Insta, but also like I'm on the gram now with Rewired EP. You can at me, and we're going to try to build some new content that way. But yes, your take is definitely dead on. However, one thing that we've been consistent at is we do run our own ads to the dealers. On Facebook and Insta. Yeah. So
do you run ads on LinkedIn?
From time to time. There's nuances. The ad tech on LinkedIn isn't as strong as Meta. There are certain like daily budget requirements that you have to adhere to. Like if you're going to run LinkedIn ads, you have to spend at least $1,000 a month minimally. So there's pros and cons. For dealers that want to do commercial prospecting, beautiful. Absolutely.
Right, so that was really my next question was, how do you see LinkedIn when it comes to how should window film dealers be looking at LinkedIn for their business generation and networking? Is it a place that you even think maybe potential hiring can happen? What do you think?
No, I think for commercial prospecting or outbounding, LinkedIn is great. LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. If you have outside sales persons or people that are aggressively trying to pursue commercial prospects, hotel GMs or glass companies or whatever, LinkedIn Sales Nav is also a really effective tool. The most impactful thing that I think, regardless of the social platform, is in leveraging your data. So for us, I started doing it by myself at first for like 3M, and then I hired a guy we work with on Fiverr that is like our scraping expert. But what we've done is built a database of all the dealers, and then you can take that and as a custom audience, you can plug it into Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and the platforms will find those users, and then you can run ads to them. So it's like the same data you would leverage as if you were going to send an email send, you can run ads to those people in the given platforms. So I think the data is huge. And that's something that a lot of dealers struggle with that don't have a Tint Wiz. Oh, I don't know. Like I've got purchase orders here. It's like scratch paper and, I got to, check my files to find somebody's number or whatever. Start an Excel spreadsheet, first name, last name, email, phone number, physical address, purchase date, like all the prerequisite detail you have on somebody that engages with you and works with you. And then
even better, start a 30-day free trial in Tint Wiz and skip the Excel sheet and just rolling from the beginning.
Antiquated sales guy. But no, man, I think there's a lot of benefit there. And yes, certainly get in Tint Wiz and get your leads to go right from your site into Tint Wiz and, get the inventory kit, get the on-site estimating. Like if you're not using it and you're in this industry, you're shooting yourself in your own foot. So Tint Wiz 1, then ChatGPT 2.
Sounds good. And to your point, speed is super important. And that's a part of Tint Wiz, which is like when you use it to its efficiency, speed becomes a big part. That lead, like you said, it comes directly into your Tint Wiz. You're getting an app notification, you're getting an email. You're able to look at that lead within literally seconds, just as you would a text message or a Facebook notification. You're looking at that lead and you're able to then within a couple other seconds send a canned proposal and contact that customer. And that speed can be the difference between them calling another company or submitting their information to another company and so on. It can just like out of 10, 1 or 2 are simply done because you got to them quickly. And those are easy wins. And you have to work your way up to your percentage. So your closing percentage can get to that 80, 70, 80, 90%, out of 10 and so on. So
Yeah, if
Speed,
you
speed,
already
speed.
have that spreadsheet, just upload it into your Tint Wiz.
There you go. I love that.
Boom. Share the data.
Where do you see Rewired in like 5 years?
Oh,
What
man.
would you like it to be? What would you like to be offering? What do you see? What do you see it looking like?
Yeah, I think, it's a good question because when you start something, you're like, we just want to make it sustainable. We want to help as many people as we can, but we want to keep like this boutique, high quality vibe, and we're never going to lose that. We definitely do see ourselves growing. I would be, not honest if I said we wouldn't love to like see an acquisition in our future at some point based off of being niche industry specific and a leader in, one element within a growing and bustling industry. So do we have a goal to maybe get acquired down the line? Absolutely. But I don't know if that's within the next 5 years, but one thing I would say, and to me, it's less about, oh, well, we want to be at this certain amount of revenue. It's way more to me about our brand and our brand integrity and how many people when we go to a trade show can be like, those guys fucking rock. We love working with them. They're awesome. And I think I said this on a Born to Tint on the Miller Bros podcast, but they asked me something similar and your sign was back there. And I think, and this isn't me just being on your podcast, like blowing smoke, because that's not really my style, but your cult-like following of the people that vibe Tint Wiz, working with you and being a part of it, to me, that kind of environment, the way you've nurtured that and the way you've invested in that, I think is a great model for any tech-driven company in any industry. So I would love, for you guys to be like the CRM technical prowess. And I would love for us to have some sort of, maybe if it's not even footing or whatever, but just something along that vibe of like, people want to work our booth. They want to talk about working with us because that's what makes us the most excited. The money comes if you do a good job, no matter what you do. We're focused on how do we make like the Cody Beckers and people vibe us just like they vibe Tint Wiz or some of the super respected brands. So, let's get acquired one day, but on the way, man, let's take a page out of your book.
Well, thank you. I very much appreciate the kind words and how you phrase that. Yeah, it's very much appreciation for you saying that and also for the community and how the community kind of responded to Tint Wiz over the last 5 years, because really that is everything. Like that is, you have to have a solid product, right? Like you have to believe in the product because you really believe in it, not because you like believe you want to sell the product or like get customers, but you have to believe in it because like, hey, it's worth investing into this company, into this everything, because I believe in it long term. And then of course things have to go well, and we luckily have an amazing tight-knit community, so appreciation all around. I'm curious, when you talked about acquisition, in your mind, when was that because like you have a good chance of getting acquired, right? Like there could be a distributor, a manufacturer that wants to acquire you. There could be a national, I could see a company like NGS or something like that, that's one of the national leaders in commercial window tinting, saying like, hey, we're doing $80 million a year in business if we can apply, and subsidize. And then we also have the revenue from all his customers and there's all sorts of who knows. And then there's also private equity and so on, and venture capital and so on that might want to pick you up. Do you imagine that being a situation where you get acquired and you're at the beach and there's nothing wrong with that? Or you get acquired and that acquisition enables you to like leverage like a bigger team and a bigger customer base and kind of take it to some other level because of a strategic acquisition? And I really mean there's nothing wrong with going to the beach.
No, dude, I live on the beach out here in Sarasota, so we're good. Well, I mean, my house isn't on the beach, but I'm a redhead though. I don't spend that much time at the beach. But no, the latter for sure. This is our baby, man. I'm more protective of like our brand and the way that we do things. Like it is just a paradigm shift when you go from even being super invested, let's say, into previous tech companies that we worked at, even though we didn't have equity or whatever, like we really we're ambassadors to those brands. When you start your own thing, it's completely different. I could never just hand it off. And all the guys feel the same way. We could never just hand it off to a new entity and be like, all right, hey, we cashed out and like, it's up to you guys. I always foresaw if an acquisition ever took place, all of us would stay on into some sort of facilitator role to see it through for a year or two, however long that was needed. But then that out or that exit would give us a chance to reinvest in the industry in another way. And we just recently had a tech summit, ironically, in Sarasota, which Sarasota is not, it's not your Austin or your Silicon Valley, but there's certainly some tech companies here, and a lot of people are moving to Florida. So it seems to be expanding with angel investors and venture capitalists and so on. And we just had the summit last Friday, and one of the panels was all talking about we need more exits so people can reinvest. So I think we want to find an exit that makes sense. We want to make sure it's the absolute right person that's going to take care of all the great people we've worked with. But at the same time, we want to shepherd them through that and then find a way to, start our next startup or reinvest it into Sarasota locally so we can hire some awesome people or attract some really cool talent, but keep it into window film and what we know. Because I don't think there's so much opportunity in this space and where it's going. And, the dealers know that because you've got guys doubling their pricing on flat glass and people are still saying yes. And it's awesome. It's the demand is going to be there. It's not going away. I'm, not to be it's endless, but, there's a lot of potential opportunity. And I'm the kind of guy that I don't know a lot. I don't know a little about a lot of things, but when I get into something, I'm all the way nuts deep in it to figure it out, And unfortunately, that's why I'm a Dolphins fan, but that's another conversation.
So going back again now to Gary Vee. Gary Vee's obviously if you follow him, if you're into Gary, he's all about giving value and just free value. That is Gary. That is why you can trust listening to him, because not only is he mostly right, he is really his intentions giving value, not selling a course, not nothing. So in that, let's channel your inner Gary. What information, what bit of advice could you give window tint dealers that is that free, great advice that you're just putting out there for good karma?
Yeah. I mean, I could host a whatnot and do the giveaway, but I'm going to do it right here. No, I would say from my realm of digital, from the marketing and the websites and all of that, the one, the biggest point of free value that I could give somebody is whether you do it with an agency, you do it with us, you do it on your own, whatever, run Google ads, put your Google business listing in there. I know it's kind of something we've touched on and it's not maybe earth shattering or whatever, but if you have 5-star reviews and you look good from your Google business listing, leveraging that as a location asset. So every time somebody says window film near me, CC near me, whatever, you're going to pop up. They're going to see your listing. They're going to see your results. That's 1A to 1B. 1B being have an aesthetically pleasing site. Because they're going to look at your site and they're going to look at 3 others, and then they're going to determine off of that where to go. So in relation to my realm, I would say, right there, those are 2 key elements that it's not a crazy level of investment that would help you out a lot. I don't know if I have any wisdom as sage as Gary Vee might, maybe other than don't be a Jets fan. But I would say Simon Sinek, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you approach every day like that with a consultative based approach that you just want to help people, and your vessel is, I'm going to help them reduce their energy bill on their home, or I'm going to help them make their whip look awesome with PPF. Don't look at yourself as just, hey man, I'm a PPFer. Even if you're just the installer, who cares? Look at yourself as yo man, I'm making a difference and helping these people out. My vessel is PPF, but how do I make it more than just about the job and the quality of the job and what it costs me? So I don't know if that's more philosophical, but I think it's practical across the board for our space.
I love all of that advice. And a part of that, like you said, it's not I only am installing PPF on that car. It's first of all, you're a solution provider. Second of all, you can be pleasant. You could be extremely pleasant. You could be not so pleasant. You could not be conscious of if you're being pleasant. And that whole experience that you provide the customer is part of it. The box is part of the item, and every part of it, the store, every single part of it is part of that experience. So to your point, not thinking about it I am just installing PPF, because if you're just installing PPF, you're going to face those value, how to justify your prices and so on. But if you're looking at it, like you're saying, as a solution provider, an experience provider, and so on, I think everything falls into place. Is there something fundamentally that you do differently when taking on a customer, window tint or PPF dealer as a customer, to manage their ads for one that is kind of a brand new customer versus one that might be more of, we're dominating our market for the last 15 years and we're looking to do better, versus somebody we don't have much out there, let's say, review wise? Is there a different angle you take with those two types of companies?
Yeah, great question. 100%. So they're all tailored to the needs, in particular, to the market, to the needs of the dealer, and so on. But there's a difference in architecture. There is a difference in budgeting. There's a difference in like audience building. So there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. But like, I'll give an example. Dallas Fort Worth market. We've got a 3M dealer there, DFW Window Film, Kevin and Joni, amazing people, brand new to them in window film and on the flat glass side. We started working with them 2 years ago. Brand new. Their goal, let's just say their goal was very palatable for their revenue for the year. I don't even think they had been in business like maybe a couple months. And I saw him on the dealer locator. So of course I call him. He's like, hey man, we just started this. Like, what are you asking me for a couple K a month in marketing investment or whatever? I'm like, hey, just do Google with us. And I'm like, it'll return right away. You don't have to sweat it. And you tell me in a couple months, like if you vibe it, and we'll stay really close communication on it. So it went from, hey, we started with Google. Hey, this is really working. Well, let's get Facebook and Instagram going and let's start building content and let's expand where we're targeting. And now in the Texas market and DFW, there's a ton of glass. There's a lot of commercial glass and high-rise glass. They're just killing it. So that might have been the natural evolution to their scenario versus a Genesis or a Green Valley who's got a lot of great content. And on those scenarios, it's more so being vigilant on looking at their architecture and looking at their insights, and then like with their existing ad accounts, and then cross-referencing how that looks compared to our sauce. And contrary to the somewhat common belief, ads are not all created equal. Okay. There is a lot of nuance that goes into how I'm going to buy Google ads. Is it search or is it display? Is it performance max? Is it YouTube? Okay. Well, there's like multiple different options right there. So if somebody says they're doing Google, now you know, what are you doing PMax campaigns? Like what campaigns are you running? There's a lot in there. There's a lot of architecture differences in Facebook. No longer are the days where you build one static ad in Facebook with one version of ad copy and you run it and you see what happens. You leverage dynamic, which is like if you were going to do PPF, you'd have 10 different PPF assets and 5 different headlines and copy, and you'd have all the placements at your disposal. And if Erik Devesh wants to engage with an ad, maybe he's more likely to do it in his Facebook newsfeed versus Erik Pendleton, EP is maybe more likely in my Instagram reel. So let's serve them the ad with the ideal type of content for them based off their preference. So anecdotally, every dealer should be running Google. If you're not, get on it. We can help you. But beyond that, then you'll see the natural evolution. Meta would probably be next in most use cases. LinkedIn, TikTok, if it's still around, right? Hopefully. So, that's kind of like the evolution or the adaptation for somebody net new coming in. For a Green Valley or a Genesis, it's much more detailed into seeing what their ROI was, seeing what insights we can take from it and how we can marry that with ours. So the oldest adage in marketing, if I'm spending, let's just use round numbers. If I'm spending 10K on some marketing initiative and then I kill that 10K and I move that 10K to another marketing initiative. Okay, well, it's going to be much harder to discern the impact that has. But if I'm doing no marketing and all of a sudden I'm doing 10K, the lift is going to be considerable. So with that in mind, when dealers are like, oh, I've only done organic or I've never done Google or whatever, we love those accounts because it's like, we're going to blow your hair back. This is awesome. For accounts that, hey, we've got, robust marketing budgets already. What can you guys do for us? That's, it's a deep dive into their needs, their verticals, where they have capacity to grow. There's a lot more kind of that goes into that. But those are the more fun ones for us, candidly. So we'll take on either or.
Very cool. Are you planning on attending any of the upcoming dealer meetings or industry events this year?
Yeah. So we want to be at all of them. It's tougher for vendors or suppliers like us for the dealer-centric meetings. Like, I don't think 3M's having one, but I know Lumar and Matico and XPEL's got XTC coming up in February. So we're trying to do our best to like maybe network in and kind of get on the roster of a dealer, if you will. But we'll definitely be at WFR. We'll 100% be in Reno for the WFCT/Tinter battles. We always hit that one every year. And then one cool thing that's kind of like a practical use case that I think transitions and makes a lot of sense for the dealers. Even if we don't go to the dealer conference, I shoot a piece of video content specific for that brand, and then we just geofence it. So we drop a pin at where the conference is, and we draw a 1 mile radius around it, and we say, it's a reach objective, reach as many people as you can in this area with this ad. So I've had dealers anecdotally say, oh, we were in this AI meeting at the Lumar conference in Amelia Island last year, and then we all left, and all of a sudden, like 3 of us got served an ad, and it was you saying, hi, I know you're a Lumar dealer in Amelia Island. You should talk to me about your market. And they were like, so how it relates to dealers is you have an affluent area, you've got a high-end residential area that you want to talk to people that have, a bunch of new cyber trucks about getting PPF or getting a residential solar film or so on. It's one benefit to the control you have in Facebook over how your ads serve.
Amazing. I love that. I look forward to seeing an ad like that coming up at a dealer meeting or at a WFCT or Tinter Battle WFCT.
You're going to get me into all of them, you said. So, yeah.
Anywhere you want to go. I mean, I don't know, hopefully this video that shows that you're interested in going, and dealers, manufacturers, suppliers will reach out, because obviously you're another asset that can be there and another resource for dealers. And that's what those dealer meetings are all about. So it should be obvious. Yeah. We'll test the viewership of this show if you get contacted or not.
Perfect. I'm down.
And the intelligence of these distributors. It's not just the viewership.
Yeah. Hey, I'm here to help sling more film. So all roads lead to the promised land.
That's what it truly is about. When you have great tools, great film, great marketing, great systems, great people, great everything, great staffing, like it becomes a great ecosystem, both on the micro level for the dealers and on a macro level for the industry.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a leader in that, a leader by example, So, and there's a bunch of other people that are kind of picking up that cross with you. But
thank you.
Yeah, man, the conferences and like WFCT last year with the Disney World, I gave my sister for Christmas like an extra Disney World like kit that we had, and she was super stoked on that. She was like, I love this purple color. I'm like, yeah, Tint Wiz, babe, you got it.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I think that wraps us up. Erik, I really appreciate you taking the time and doing this, sharing this, and making an impact in the industry, because you're working with a lot of great companies. Your ads are out there. Every time I've asked someone, how's it going? Like some of the customers we've mentioned on the show, the feedback's always been positive. So appreciate you coming on here and sharing your wisdom.
Absolutely. Erik, thank you so much for having me, man. It's not often that 2 titans of industry that spell their name the same way converse. It's kind of like the Big Bang happening here. So we're only expanding exponentially from here, my friend.
It's great to know a fellow Erik with a K, so we'll stay in touch.
Heck yeah, bro. Take it easy, man.
All right, you as well. Thank you again.
Thanks.